We're live? Yes, we are. Wonderful. I did it.
Working?
Yes, it is working.
Nice.
The ultimate question is I've got to check if you guys are getting picked up.
Yeah, that usually kind of occurs sometimes. The bar should be like bouncing. You're using OBS, correct?
Yeah, you're being picked up. Right, crack him. That took longer than I want to admit because there's a bit of a, there's latency. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Anyway, welcome to Free Radio of Callahan. Yes, I have been that low, guys. I changed one word.
Free Radio of Callahan. Sure.
Yep, it works in my opinion. Anyway, those of you that checked out the channel before, hello, I am Rise Inquisitor, 2IC of the Free Legion of Callahan, and with me are the awesome Lieutenant Dragonfly, who's my lieutenant, and Captain and head of our logistics branch, Boss.
Yellow.
So, who is the Free Legion of Callahan? Free Legion of Callahan is a foxhole regiment. We don't just play foxhole, but we are predominantly a foxhole regiment that I joined a few months ago. Hence why I haven't done any of the Dungeon Nerds podcast because I've been busy with FLC. Who have been around since War 83, which is the longest war in foxhole's history, and we. In fact, I think I'm the longest running member out of the three of us. But
no, yeah,
because Boss joins. Yeah, Boss joined last war, didn't you? No, the year before, the war before that, wasn't it?
It was
War
86.
Yeah, you joined War 86, and Dragon, you joined War 8. Yeah, and Dragon joined War 87, didn't you?
Yeah, the last war.
Yeah. And he already has. Don't worry, Boss. So, what we're going to be discussing in this is what the FLC gets up to in Foxhole. We're going to talk a little bit about FLC and what we're about and everything like that. And how you can join this fantastical group if you're interested in playing Foxhole. So,
And let's tell some stories from
yeah,
this war as
and
well.
we'll go over some of the stories from the last war, definitely. So, the FLC was founded by our CO and his girlfriend, Chop Suey and Lena, in War 83. It was just a few members back then. I joined in War 85, towards the tail end of it, and have somehow found myself in the second in command position within the regiment in that period of time since the end, towards the tail end of a week before Christmas. That was it. I joined a week before Christmas last year. So, and unlike a lot of, well, I wouldn't say unlike a lot of regiments, we're incredibly chill. Like it's very relaxed here, or I've always found it very relaxed with you guys anyway.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at the colonial regiments and things like that, we are like
So fucking chill.
so fucking chill. Yes. But I think most of the modern regiments are pretty chill as well.
Yes.
I don't think there is any modern regiment that is so like restrict that people don't like it. Not
Yeah.
sure, right?
No, it's in my experience, a lot of regiments try and say that they're chill, but are in fact not chill. So that's it in my experience. So it's, but some of them, it's Foxhole's a very weird game because, for those of you who don't know, Foxhole is a game where you play on one of two sides in a constantly reoccurring war. Hence why we describe wars as like War 83, War 87. Each war is numbered consecutively, and we fight pretty much. Well, not pretty much. We fight only on the Warden side as the FLC. Some regiments flip flop each war. Some only, like us, stay on one particular faction. And there is definitely different cultures between Wardens and Colonials. Very, very different cultures between the two factions already. You can't say that the Collies are just Wardens in green. They're not. They've entirely different attitude to fighting and everything like that.
On the battlefield, the strategies also vary vastly, from my experience.
Oh yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Because most of the colonials, they really don't have anything about that is like that the wardens have as well. For example, we have the tech maidens. They have the what's the name? The quartermaster.
Yeah, they have the quartermasters. So we have actually no, they're the tech maids of Callahan. That's what they're called, the tech maids of Callahan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We have the weeb side.
yeah.
We
For some reason, the wardens are all weebs, and the collies are all super serious. Oh, that's the joke that's made, and I actually, both sides can be super serious. It varies from, but I've also noticed that there's different regiments between different cultures between regiments as well.
And I would say that all sides can be serious, but some sides take it too serious, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Some things that are just a game, you know. Yeah, it's a war. You're not winning anything with it.
I mean,
other than the war.
I care and I put in a lot of effort for the FLC and everything like that, but that's more for the members than for the actual war itself. I care very little how the war ends. I care more about the FLC as a whole enjoying themselves.
I mean, it's fun to win. It's fun to win, and we want to.
But we've had ops where we've got the shit kicked out of us, boss. We've had ops where we got the shit kicked out of us, and that's also been fun.
Yeah.
I'll say that as well. Go ahead.
The most recent op, I guess I can mention about that, maybe.
Do you know what? Yeah, go for it because it wasn't like in the grand scheme of things that drastically change anything. It was a simple premise.
But we were able to see an example of collie tactics there and the fun of chaos.
Oh yeah.
Because in a matter of 10 seconds, there were around 15 collies on our bunker base that we were still building, and they had 2 half tracks. That all happened in the span of 20 seconds or 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And collie trying to hold for dear life inside the bunker base.
Well, one thing I've noticed, collie tactics seem to revolve very much around swarming, even more than wardens do.
Swarming and suicide tactics, because they run at you and throw grenades very often.
Yeah, it's almost all like it's swarming, it's suicide tactics. My god, my fucking god.
Think how many times... Yeah, go on, boss.
If you see a warden on late game, they have like big tanks and tanks that are really powerful. If you see the collies on the late game, they are suiciding tanks to kill one enemy tank, so they can have the upper hand, you know.
Yeah, but that's purely because of the benefits they get to production and everything like that. It's compared to the benefits that they're asking. I've got a question. Why are they sounding like they're in tin can? I think that's just Boss's mic, to be honest with you. Apparently, it sounds like you're in a tin can. Don't know about that, but yeah, I think it might just be your sound settings in OBS. I've got to sort out my settings at the moment because this isn't my
Oh, okay.
this
So,
isn't my
I don't know,
specialty.
okay.
Yeah. No, but the last op we did, which was yesterday, and we did. This is the only time we'll mention the current war, but our op was simple. It was just to distract the collies. That was our sole. But we wanted to bring collie attention directly on us and take it away from others, and it succeeded a bit too quickly, unfortunately, but it did succeed. And we draw.
It's fun as fuck, and it resulted in a different push.
Yes, very, very different kind of push. And that was good to see. It was good to see because this war has very much been treated by the Wardens as a break war. I know some regiments haven't, but we have. Well, at least within the FLC, certain members, including myself, have viewed this as a break war because the last one was so long. So, I mean, last war was
87, right?
yeah, last war was 87, and that was the second longest war in the game's history, and it was very.
Consuming.
It was
stress.
yeah, it was ridiculously time consuming. It was I won't lie that it was a lot of fun. Last war was a lot of fun.
It was.
Probably the most fun I've had playing the game.
I would say it was the golden days as well. For
Yeah.
FLC.
What was it?
I would say that FLC grew a lot on last war. We did a lot of cool things as we're gonna tell as well.
Okay, that's really nice. We've actually got a mention on the Foxhole Reddit for our op yesterday by a collie.
By a collie.
Yeah,
What does it say?
I'll read it to you. To the Wardens who tried to attack the procession from behind. Honestly, it was a really good plan, and I salute your boldness. It was actually a really good plan that could have cut off the procession and forced us to pull back. We probably would have been if I didn't happen to spot you guys staging at Friars while doing partisan stuff. To AR, Dig, and the other small clan whose name I missed, don't get discouraged. It was a good plan with solid execution. You just got unlucky and were spotted super early. Keep it up and try again another day. It was a pleasure fighting against you. Yeah, no, yeah, there's more. You are worthy opponents that I look forward to facing in the future. P.S. It was nice chatting with you in the pillbox after the battle, Epion, who's a member of AR. You definitely got a number of us hiding in there. Lol.
Oh yeah. Man, I crashed in on this guy. I
The-
told you guys that ears coming. Fucking hell. Okay, go ahead.
That's
For the record, that guy managed to sneak through around 3 rifle pillboxes without getting shot a single time.
for your.
Yes, and he stole Warden's run as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
Props to that guy, honestly.
Yeah.
He did a great job with that.
I'm still salty. He forgot our name. Fuck.
We'll rub our name in his face next time.
Of course. Right. About the last war.
Yep.
Do you really think that war was like the best war for FLC? Or I'm just the only one that thinks that?
A lot of new members and
A lot of new members.
We had a
bunch of activities.
honest to God, the last war was absolutely fantastic. It was. I mean, it started off for me anyway. Personally, it started off a bit shit because I wasn't able to do what I like doing when we first started War 87, because a new coalition system came into effect, and I like leading. I like leading units. It's something that I really enjoy. I'm told quite often that I'm good at it. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I'm told quite often I'm good at it. And and I've always enjoyed doing that. And the first week of the war, I wasn't able to do that, so I wasn't enjoying it so much. But as time went on, we started getting more members like you. You joined Dragon. and it was just really really good to see like us having like 20 to 30 people on at once fighting. um I was leading groups of like 9 to 10 people alone, and it was so much fun. Like even the ops that failed, we always achieved our objectives, and I was always proud of that fact that the us us as the FLC, and especially my company, always achieved their objectives, and I was always really proud of that. And at the time, like yourself and boss, you wasn't a captain at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't.
And Dragonfly wasn't a lieutenant. he was just another random that was with us, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
just happened to join in, and
yeah, and
Yeah, like
throughout the war.
me becoming a captain was like the randomest thing I ever happened to me, because just one day from the coalition, someone said like, I don't want to do Logi today. I don't want to be the commander of Logi. I was like, oh, I can do the communication. I can do this.
yeah,
It's easy. And fucking hell, that is it spiraled out of control, and I became the captain of Logi.
yeah. It was
Sure.
War 87 was the best, but it was also, for very different reasons, one of the worst, because it was very very hard during certain parts of it, and that was purely for like some of the political reasons that were going on that I won't go into. But it was very stressful the majority of the war, but I enjoyed it so fucking much. And
Yes.
that when the war ended, I was already tailing off my amount of activity because I was trying to split it between. I think the final week of the war, I had my kids stay down. I had some stuff with my girlfriend that I was doing, and it was just like, yeah, no, this needs to take priority. So I cut down my activity. And this current war, I just flat out said I'm only going to be taking part in big ops because I've started working. I need to prioritize that. And you guys were all okay with that, and I was like, awesome, fantastic.
Yes.
And-
For the people that don't know, last war was like 36 days.
Yeah, it was something like, it was a stupid amount. It was very very long.
Yes.
The last war, but it was still a good. It was still a very very good war. Despite it being long, it felt very very long, but it was, and it did feel like it was dragging at certain points. But that's because some of the balancing that they're now going to be bringing in wasn't in at the time, and the Logi strike did not help. The Logi strike did not help in the grand scheme of things, but we was lucky because we had such a solid Logi team behind us, with like yourself, Boss, and Blue. We had really good people coming up to do the combat, like Dragon, Ro, Drasmodia, everything like that. We had such solid people backing us up that's why we was as successful as we were. And the only downside, in my opinion, with the last war was that we didn't do as many regiment only or regiment focused ops as I feel like we could have done.
You mean small ops that we can do only by ourselves?
Not so much small ops we can only do. Very much like the op that we did yesterday. Ops that were led by the FLC. I felt like we could have done that a bit more in the last war.
Yeah.
Most definitely we could have done that more.
I would say so.
And we did do it occasionally, but like with Fort Basilica that we built in Brody's Town. All of the defensive actions that we performed on behalf of the coalition that we was in at the time. We did do stuff like that, but I feel like we could have made much more of a presence for ourselves leading it, because FLC has made a name for themselves within the Wardens, but we are still relatively unknown, if you get what I mean. Like, people don't, not everyone, like that collie, the collies have no idea who the FLC are. Some of them know us now because we made quite an impact with members of Shred and the One Clan. Like, I got in that argument with that member of the One Clan. that time. Hey Icarus, and yeah, so we did make some of it. We have made an impact, and we're going to keep on making an impact because maybe this war we're not as active as we was in the previous one, but in the future I want to do a lot more, especially leading at the front because it wasn't as much fun running the op yesterday as it is leading the company, but I did still enjoy it. I think the issue yesterday was just a lack of numbers, unfortunately.
Yeah, the new art as well was not friendly to us. You know,
No,
things change a lot faster than we thought.
it's very
But
much.
let's go to the 187 because I'm really curious. Something I never asked.
Yep, go for it.
You were present on the day one of the war, right?
Yes. No, I wasn't present day one of the war because I had shit I had to do. Every day one of the war since I've joined FLC, I've been really busy doing something else. So I haven't been present for day one of the war on any of them since I joined because I've always got something else that I've got to do. But I was keeping tabs of what was happening day one of the war. And day one of the war, we pushed them so fucking hard. Like, Jesus, we pushed them almost entirely out of the moor. No, we pushed them entirely out of the moors in the lane that we was in. And we was moving into Reaching Trail. Not Reaching Trail. Yeah, Reaching Trail.
Yeah, so we captured Ogmadan on the first day, right?
Yeah.
I heard it happened the first day, but I didn't know that much happened the
Yeah,
first
no.
day.
We the thing is that the war beforehand we were soundly beaten every single time during War 86 by the collies. We couldn't push. Every time we managed to make a push, we was instantly pushed back the next day. And it got to the point where it was so bad, a large proportion of regiment leaders gathered together and said, right, we need to sort this. And that's how the coalitions came around. Regiments working together, unified, very much like a division in real life, towards the same goals and essentially allied together on the same front. And so many coalitions were formed that first in War 87 at the beginning that the collies were hit across all fronts on day one simultaneously. And this hadn't been planned. It just so happened they were hit on every single front at the same time, and they just folded. Like they couldn't hold against that.
Yeah. We just we won 87, but after that, the last war we won was 83, right?
I think we might have won war. Did we win War 84? 84? I wasn't playing War 84, so I can't remember off the top of my head.
I remember that we had a 4 loss streak.
Yeah.
We arrived at 87, and
yeah.
we are tied on the all wars.
Yeah.
Won.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was. We hadn't won since War 83, and the determination was we need to do something about this. And the one thing that everyone agreed on was that the biggest issue with us compared to the collies was the collies were just more organised. And that's how this came about. And we won War 87 through a lot of hard work, a lot of just grinding against them. And it's really fucking funny because within the first 2 days of War 87, it wasn't even the first 2 days, within the first 24 hours of War 87, there were collies complaining about dev bias due to the tech tree. Within 24 hours, bearing in mind, nothing had been unlocked. And they were saying that they were losing because of dev bias with the tech tree.
I mean, we are fighting with just mammals.
Yeah, it was just mammons and pistols because, and we still made that push. So it was people's response to that was, yeah, okay then, sure. That's why you're losing right now. It's because of even collies thought that was stupid. But a lot of them, because of how the coalition system came about so quickly and was enacted so quickly, it wasn't common knowledge on the colonial side that this had even been done. I mean, they may very well know about it now, thanks to Shred and one clan switching over to us in 87. and we may see something, or it may even be happening, a coalition system or something very similar to it forming on the colonial side. It's entirely possible.
Probably already happened.
Yeah.
I would say, like, last war was amazing for Wardens because we advanced so much
Yeah.
on tactics and just communication.
Yeah.
We advanced so much on the first day and the first days, and after that, on the northern front, that we had to like achieve a deadlock. Reaching trade, didn't we?
Yeah, it was very much a deadlock, and it just got harder as time went on. Constant back and forth.
It was on Reaching Trail and Bazin, right?
Yeah. Well, Basin, we did at one point. We managed to massively. Spoon. Basin, we did manage to push into multiple times, but each time they managed to push us back. So it was very much back and forth in Basin, and they'd push into what's it called? I can't think of the name of the region off the top of my head. They would push from. They would push from Basin into Speaking Woods, and then we'd push them back out of Speaking Woods, manage to get into Basin, get pushed out. So that was back and forth. Reaching Trail was back and forth.
Yes. Yeah, we tried to reach. It was called Water, right? The big base there.
Yeah.
We tried to reach that, and we keep hitting our heads on that fucking concrete wall. And somewhat we destroyed it on the last war, but like with a lot of pain. And Colonials give up the war, you know.
Well, some areas of the college didn't give up, and some did. It was very telling, and that's the case every war. One side inevitably gives up, but there's a few holdouts of people still trying to hold.
Yes.
Because it is not over until it's over. I remember War 76? Yeah, I think it was War 76, where the collies were pushed all the way back. And bearing in mind, this is before... no, it weren't Callahan. Callahan didn't exist back then.
Great March, yes.
Yeah, they were pushed all the way back to Great March, to the very final town base. They were the Wardens were about to win the war, and the collies managed to push them back, and not just push them back, but they ended up winning the war because they counterattacked all the way back up through Viper Pit and that.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
It was kind of terrifying, seeing like the War 76 time lapse and knowing that we are winning right now and when lost.
Yeah, it was an absolutely. I remember watching YouTube videos about it and just being like, Jesus Christ, they managed to counterattack that hard.
Yes, but let's talk a little bit more about the Middle War. You know, let's talk about more our little base that got stunk into the fucking ground.
Oh yeah, Fort Basidica. Well, it wasn't exactly. It wasn't exactly little, but it was very sad to see it go. Very, very. I was disappointed that it got taken out, but that's the issue with storm cannons.
Yeah, of course. We didn't plan to make base really quickly on the war. Then on the Middle War, we decided let's make a fucking base. Let's make a fucking base and protect
we made a fucking base.
We made one of the biggest base on the northern side on the northern front.
Yeah.
It was fucking disgusting the amount of concrete we needed to make that base.
Yeah.
And we defended one ground attack that they had on the Brody Town last war as well with that base. But we could not make storm cannons on time to defend
No.
storm cannons.
The issue is storm cannons are something that was added to the game to stop stalemates, which makes sense because that can happen.
But it created more stalemates.
Yeah, it turns Reaching Trail, or no, it's not. Sorry, not Reaching Trail.
It was
Yeah, it turned Reaching Trail into effectively the entire area was a no man's land.
I remember the last days of the war, we just like kept pushing, reaching trail, and getting everything but Ice Range, and they get everything else.
Yeah,
And there is some players that we didn't have anything, any relic base, any town hall on reaching trail. We just had one bunker base.
yeah.
That was red bunker space, right?
I think the only bunker base that was holding was Shred's one, which was down by Night Church, or it was to the west of Night Church. Sorry,
Yes.
and that was because it was so far back, the storm cannons couldn't hit it. That was the only reason it wasn't taken out.
Yeah, and Shred put like 3 stop cannons there, and they made sure that the colonials are not making stop cannons.
I mean, respect to Shred, they did so much hard work last war. I got a lot more respect for them. That's slowly fading.
Because they went to colonials again.
Yeah, of course. Fucking goblins. I'm joking. If you play Foxhole and you're a nice person, that's what I care about. I don't care if you fight for college.
Yeah, but join your arms, please. Yeah, and after that we went back to Ogmaran, right? We used we got
Yeah.
Ogmaran on the first day of the war, and that was the
We
most
use-
crucial city on the northern side, right?
Yeah,
I think all of the regiments can agree on that.
definitely. I can agree on that.
Yes.
It was crucial from a logistics standpoint and from a forward operating base standpoint. And it was critical
Yeah.
that we held it. And it was.
Do you know the name of the guy that made the bunker base there that we can use it? Or no? So we can have a shout out to him.
I'm pretty sure it was H4.
No, yeah, but the guy who made the tech, it was not
Oh, I don't know who made the tech. I mean, we ended up using that for the FLC's tank depot op. If you have heard of FLC, you've most likely heard of us because of that. And the premise was simple: you bring a tank to us, we will take that tank, replace it with another one, repair the tank that you brought us, and set it all up. We'd outfit you with fuel, ammunition, whatever you needed, and send you on your way. It was a really effective system, and it's probably what helped keep the front going as long as it did. I had very little to do with it because I'm a combat leader. I will do logi, but I find a lot of stuff like that boring. It's not for everyone. But I'll quite happily say I was very proud of what the lads and lasses of FLC managed to achieve by doing that. It was really good to see.
This thing that we made last war, just giving away tanks, was beautiful.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful.
We inspired a lot of people to do the same as well on the same war. And right now on this war is war 88. We are inspiring people to do this as well on the work side.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know that.
No, I don't, because I've had so little to do with this war. I've
There is some
literally.
people making armored cars dealerships, so people can just take armored cars with ammo and everything.
Yeah.
It's not as complex as we did last war, but still.
Well, that is something to talk about actually. Regiments hoarding supplies because it is a thing within the both factions. Both factions do this. There are regiments on both sides that, to put it bluntly, hoard supplies or even more stupidly, hoard resource fields. So for those of you who don't know, everything in Foxhole, whether it's ammunition, guns, anything that you use in it, has been made by a player. A player has made that in the back lines and then brought it to the front. And I've got nothing. As someone that's done logi, pardon me, a fair amount, nothing brings me greater satisfaction knowing that I now don't have to do logi because I have logi people to do it for me who are amazing. Boss, Blue, all of you that do Logi, you don't get the credit you deserve because you're the one that keeps the game running, not the combat. It's you guys, because if it wasn't done at all, we'd have nothing to fight with.
Yeah, you guys will be fighting with pistols.
Mm-hmm.
And only that.
Yeah. Because pistols are the only things that you don't have to make.
Exactly. Pistols and the hammers. But right on the last war, like we did like get a lot of things that we didn't use. Should I like tell how much things we have left?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, no, go
Yeah.
for it.
After we made the tank refeeding station, we started to receive a lot of donations for other camps as well. We used all the tanks that we have made ourselves, but we had 10 crates of each tank on our stockpile to give away. That is 30 crates of each tank on the game of the world. So we had a lot of things to still give in, but our problem is we didn't have enough people to give the tanks to.
And we had a lot of people coming.
Yeah, like most people are like just going asthmatic or infantry, normal things, not trying to run a fucking widow, a fucking noble widow to the front line, you know.
Oh yeah, because those things are the slowest things on the planet.
Exactly. And, yeah, I think we had a problem with tanks, but not a problem with not having tanks. A problem just with having too much tanks. Based on not, but did you have a name for that?
Yes. I'm pretty sure the base at Ogman was called Fort Hammer. If I remember correctly, Blue named it Fort Hammer.
Exactly, it was Fort Hammer.
Yeah.
And yeah, we made a lot of friends using that little base there. That one was little. Yeah.
Well, we're not rare because there are a lot of regiments that do it, but you don't notice it so much because you always notice the shit more than you do the decent. But we're one of the few regiments that I've come across that are very like if someone needs it. Like I remember War 86, someone asked if we could make our tanks public, and we was completely okay with it. And it was about 5 crates of tanks that we just gave away. It was Spuds. That was it.
Yeah, all of the regiments do this, like give things away, but they don't give away like we did on the 87. They just like unpacked everything, put some fuel on it, and lock it and leave it on a parking lot close to a.
The only thing that we're ever annoyed by is when we give the tanks away, and this is what happened in this case, and then they weren't used in combat, they were just put into a field and just left there.
Yes.
And that was very, very frustrating because we were just like, we can accept a tank just dying, but just leaving it in a field that then gets taken by the collies, and the collies are just taking them. That was frustrating. Very frustrating.
Yeah, that's why we did that on I-87. We just give a tank to a person. We don't like have tanks there. Know where the tanks are. We can fit to you so you can have ammunition, everything you need, and you can go off on your tank happily ever after. Just like kill collies and bring hell to Earth.
Well, it's funny. I did hear complaints about because we was posting about it running every day. Some people were complaining about the amount of times that we was pinning them about this.
We are pinging that much because we didn't have enough people to run tanks, you know. Not enough people wanted tanks on the northern side because the southern side was pushing like hell and going for the win.
What's the point? It was just to let people know we are running it at this point here. Like, you can come to us now, and we would definitely be here, and you can check it out. That was the only reason we was pinning as much as we was.
Most of the people that get mad by it, it's people that don't use the service. Are like people, veterans from other regiments that don't need that. They already have their own things.
Yeah,
I think most of the randoms like it.
it's not just the
You
randoms.
just look at the chat and like, oh yeah, I could get a tank there. Awesome, let's go there.
Hmm.
The people might not even be aware of the service, so the more you mention it, the more likely it is people will figure out about it.
It's like just adverts in general.
Right now, we have like a new player that joined this war. He was inspired by us, and I think
That's
it was fair
fantastic.
for us to like tell that we are doing that for everyone.
I mean, we're a very different group. We're a very tight knit group. I found ourselves at the FLC.
Yep.
Like, all of us are incredibly close, despite only knowing each other. In some cases, like weeks or months, and like, and because of that, like, a lot of people joined us, and I've made jokes about it before, but some of the members, like myself, and a few others, are very much like, we will just rip into each other. You've all heard, you guys have heard it, haven't you? Like, boss,
Yeah.
you've heard me and Blue go off at each other.
It's amazing. Sometimes you get concerned. Like,
Yeah, I've
had.
had a few people just be like, "Are you guys all right?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, we're fine." Like, what's wrong?
Yeah. We're fine. We just like to curse each other.
Yeah, and
Some people just work like that.
and we've said some absolutely horrible things to each other. But then whenever it's just us talking, we're really, really chill, and we just chat for hours about loads
Oh,
of
yeah.
different stuff.
It's just like a show. You guys are putting a show.
Yeah. But
I would say that is very fun. That's very fun.
yeah, I also like how close we are with each other, because it's like people have come in, and you can tell, like, for anyone, when the first time they come in, it can be very, very nerve wracking and very, very hard for them, because they're just like they're meeting a bunch of people that they're probably never going to meet face to face on mic for the first time, and I've had, was it you or was it Ro, ask me like, "Oh, how long have you guys known each other?" And I was just like, a couple of weeks, and you was,
Probably, bro, yeah.
yeah, it might. I can't remember who it was, but I remember someone asking how long have, like, we know each other. I'd be like, "Well, I just joined just before Christmas," and I remember me telling that to you, and you being surprised about it, Dragon.
Yeah. Like, you seem really close. Like, listen, I get extremely nervous around people, especially if I don't know them.
Yeah,
So that's why I was not in, like, randomly going into open channel and stuff.
yeah,
The first time I ever talked to everybody was during the logistics training we did.
yes, I remember that. Yep.
Was it you and Domestos, was it, that were just messing around with each other and stabbing each other occasionally as well?
No, that wasn't Domestos. That was Demaster. That was
Demaster.
Demaster. Yeah. Because I know Demaster IRL. He literally lives down the road from me.
I
And
use those names sometimes.
yeah, I know it
so
doesn't.
probably-
Yeah, a lot of people. But what makes it worse is the tank training that we did a couple of weeks before that. It was
Yeah.
Domestos messing around then and kept on gassing us all. So everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, Domestos did the logic training." I'm like, Domestos weren't even at the fucking logic training. What are you talking about? But they're convinced it was Domestos, and I'm like, no, it was Demaster. So, but it's just because they got so similar names.
It's pretty close.
But no, it's, yeah, we was doing all that, and then we did the very, very basic infantry training, didn't we? Afterwards.
Yeah, and Rose was driving around in a tank.
Yeah, Rose was driving around in a tank for some. I don't even know where she got it. She just disappeared for 5 minutes and then came back with a tank.
Well, didn't she build it in the garage? Like, we were building all the trucks and she decided to go ahead and build a tank.
Yeah, and it was a mortar tank as well.
Yeah. It came in useful later on, though.
Did we? Did we use it?
Yeah, after we did the basic training, some of the coalition members were asking for help in pushing, and there was about 12 of us together, and they went, "Yeah, okay, we'll come up." And we got in the bus, we got in the party bus, and drove up to the front, all of us. That was
not the party bus; it was the battle bus.
it was a party bus.
I don't know if you guys are like hearing this podcast right now, remember that or know that, because last war we did have, I think, 200 buses on Nevis line.
Oh yeah, and we did the bus races. They were fun. That was fun.
So we just like fool around with buses last war.
Yeah.
We had like a lot of buses, and we did the bus racings. We used the bus in tactics to try to kill the police, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun.
But going back to that battle that we used then, it was for Elksford, no?
I don't remember, but basically we were at the battle for 10 minutes and then the town hall fell.
Oh yeah, no, that was me and Draz on our own. Oh no, you're on about the other time when we was just mammon rushing that town base and just chucking mammons in. Yeah, no, that was
my first actual real battle.
Yeah.
First charge we did, I took down 7 collies with a bayonet alone.
Yeah, no, that was
still never felt better.
Yeah, that was so good. But I remember earlier in the war, me and Draz, or Draz Modia, we soloed taking out a town hall. And it was Elksford that we soloed. We went.
It was not Elksford. It was. I think it was.
No, Dwyerstown. It was Dwyerstown. Sorry,
yeah,
we took out. Yeah, we took out Dwyerstown solo, and everyone was just like, "You're going to get caught. You're going to get caught." And we didn't just take it out. We then rebuilt it on our own, and nobody came.
Yeah, you got help from other.
Yeah, we got one member of CL show up and help us out. And somebody else from Heavy show up and help us out.
I remember that. That. We from the coalition were on an operation going down to. Let me remember the name of the thing. But I mean, going to the south of Reaching Trail, you guys are up on the north, and you guys are like, help us! We got the town hall. We got the town hall. I will say, we cannot help. We cannot help.
Yeah.
You don't have logic. You don't have weapons. You don't have nothing. You still got the fucking dog.
Yeah. Although the best moment for me wasn't even a moment. It was another Draz moment. Me, Blueberry, and Draz were on very, very late at night for us. It must have been about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And me and Blue have got together a Devitt to do some tank ops in Reaching Trail. And Draz is like, "Oh, I'm in base in Cyanak. I'm doing scouting. I'm just doing partisan work up there." And we're like, "Okay." And he went silent for about 15 minutes because he said that he'd found a tank and he was doing some damage with it. And bearing in mind, he's in the back line of base in Cyanak, just south of Lamplight. And we drive into Reaching Trail at the bunker base that Shred built just west of Nightchurch at the crossroads. And we walk in and we drive into there, and then there's just Draz in this collie. It was, the spigot mortar tank that the collies have got.
Oh yeah, the collies.
Yeah, he'd driven that from base in Cyanak all the way through collie lines and got back to Warden lines. And we was like, "Where the fuck did you come from?" He hadn't said anything. He'd just driven it all the way through collie lines. Because that was the front where we was at, and he was just sat there refueling. He hadn't even taken any damage.
That's nothing.
Oh, that's nothing compared to what he's done before. I remember one time we were doing an infantry op back in War 85, and he went, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." Came back and was just like, "I've got a crate of collie tanks. What do I do with them?" Because he just started playing.
Yeah, we sell it. We traded crate of collie tanks last war.
Yeah.
For crate of normal tanks. good things.
But yeah, Draz would just disappear for like 5 or 10 minutes and then reappear with shit tons of collie tanks.
It got to the point that I stopped asking.
Yeah,
because
no,
there was no point.
that's standard order in my company. Don't ask where Draz got his shit from. Just accept that he's got it.
Yeah, honest to God.
Because
It reminds me.
There's lots of weak spots on the collies, so it's really easy to exploit.
I remember last war. I don't remember what we were doing. I was probably grouping or something, just hanging out in the chat. The one time, like, I barely look at the chat in game. I looked at the chat. Somebody on the warden side managed to get into Morgan's Crossing and later on to Godcroft.
wow,
No
that
fucking idea how he got there. All I know is that fucking mad lad got there.
fucking hell. I'm gonna guess boat. I'm going to guess boat.
Probably. I don't see another chance on.
No, that's the only way I can see it getting through there.
Yeah. It has tight corridors and shit to go through.
So,
No, yeah, like it's really easy if you go to the sea, but through land is really
yeah. So, on a different note, I wanted to bring up the other games that we've been playing over the last week since this new war started, and we've taken a bit of a break from Foxhole itself. I think we've just finished. You guys have just finished the Stellaris campaign, haven't you?
Did they finish it?
I don't know if it's finished
think they
yet.
did.
I don't think it's finished yet.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the next campaign or Paradox title that we're going to play together. Me and Chop want to do Victoria too.
I've never played it, so I'll be sitting that one out probably.
me too. Probably, I really like RTS games, but not on the style of the Heart of
You like RTS, not grand strategy.
Yes.
Yeah, I can completely understand that.
I like both, but it's like depends. I tried out Crusader Kings 2 at some point. My brain collapsed, and I didn't have the bravery to try it again.
Yeah. It's when you get the hang of it, it's like riding a bike. It's just to begin with really complicated, and then when you get the hang of it, it's an absolute breeze to do. A lot of Paradox titles. It's been the case of like our Hoi 4 campaign. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I remember you guys trying to explain to me how is to play Heart of Iron.
Yeah.
And they'll say, fucking hell, that's the same thing I do on Fox.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, it is. It is. But it was really funny because Dragon actually joined us for our Hoi 4 campaign. He didn't join the first game. He joined the second one and then carried on playing after that.
You were all like 2 years into it, I think.
Yeah, and you joined as Romania and had to sort out
Yeah, it's like,
everything the AI had done.
no, not only the AI. I was like, oh yeah, you can do that. You probably just have to manage with the AI stuff. Oh yeah. Also, forgot to mention, you're also a puppet state.
Yeah. Well,
Shit screwed me over for the longest period of time.
Well, you had me playing as Spain.
Yeah.
Fish playing.
Were immensely useful.
Oh yeah, I spent most of my time not building my own industry up, just fixing everyone else's logistics.
Actually, my backbone though.
Like yeah, I kept you going for Iran and Iraq. Like honest to God.
I couldn't do shit with one single civilian.
And then I was having. I mean, I came into the war. Like I joined the war late because I was still repairing all the damage that the Spanish Civil War does to Spain. So it takes time for me to get into it. And then I spent the first portion of the war for myself, essentially saving Italy in Africa.
Yeah.
Then I helped in the invasion of the UK, whilst I'm also building logistics for you. And then I invaded.
Trying to take over the Middle East at
Yeah.
that point, I think.
Yeah, Romania big. So's Latvia. Latvia's fucking huge.
And that was because Fish and Roe. Was
Yeah.
it Roe? No.
Yeah, it was Roe.
It was Roe.
It was Roe. It was just like,
That, oh yeah, Latvia did a lot there.
yeah, we're just.
Gave
to Latvia. Because I was just like, how the fuck are the Latvians going to garrison all of this? They don't have anywhere near the manpower for it. And they were just like, they deserve it. They deserve it.
They might get more manpower because, as I said, I was at 0 manpower. I got control of the Middle East. I had 2 million manpower suddenly.
Yeah, your manpower exploded, weirdly enough, but I think you got bonuses to non-core manpower. That might do something.
Maybe there was some slight bonuses, yeah.
I ended up taking out. Did I end up taking? Yeah, I did. I took out Portugal, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then we beat the Allies, and we was like, right, we could end it here, but we really wanted to kill Italy, didn't we? Like, it was just like, we need to, after the fucking clusterfuck that the Italian AI put us through, especially me, I was just like, I am taking Italy. I don't fucking care about anything else. Italy's mine. So
Italy was like taking care of a baby.
We had no supply through the mountains, but it was so one-sided because you had German, Spanish, and Romanian, and some Dutch troops because Ro was playing as the Dutch, wasn't he? Just marching through northern Italy. It was so one-sided.
So because of fucking Italy, and also me being dumb, of course, and inexperienced fairly with the game, I lost 300,000 manpower to Greece.
Oh yeah, Greece. Oh, don't even get me started on Greece. I refuse to have anything to do with it. I was just like, I'm not saving Italy or anyone from fucking Greece. I'm not doing it.
The terrain is so treacherous. It's just mountains.
Yeah, it's just mountains, and I hadn't expected to mountaineers at all, so I was not about to send Spanish troops into there to deal with that. It just was not worth it. And in the end, I'm pretty sure we gave it all to Bulgaria just to spite Italy, didn't we? It's just like, yeah, no, Bulgaria are the ones that fucking sorted this, not Italy. We're giving it to them.
Even though it was me that took care of most of it.
No,
I was like, what the fuck? I took care of that. But then I got Turkey and the Middle East, so I was fine.
Yeah, Romania was fucking huge. You got most of Ukraine and the Middle East.
Yeah.
It was.
Also, if the game would have continued, I would have taken over China as well.
Yeah. Well, no, you would have taken over China with me fucking building railroads for you. That's
at that point, I had my industry checked out.
Oh, thank Christ for that.
Yes, I did.
The lack of belief in that statement. Did you really?
Until once I was done when I went to fight in Afghanistan, that was the point where I had my own logistics properly sorted out. Like, I was capable of building my own stuff. Because I overthrew the king and did all that shit. And another dumb move I did there as well, which turned me democratic accidentally. Oops. But I did end up with proper amounts of civilian factories. Because the amount of debuffs you can get as Romania is insane.
Right, so we are going to be joined by... He is an officer within FLC, but he is currently fighting on the Goblin side of the war. Fish, you can unmute yourself. There we go. This is Fish. He is the company captain for our tank company, but he's currently fighting on the collie side, aren't you, this war?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Goblin.
Shut up.
Don't come for my ring, okay?
I get the hatred, but listen.
No, it's all good.
I'm your homie, though.
No, you are my homie, so you kind of owned me in Hoi 4 as well.
I did clap your cheeks, too.
No, we weren't supposed to talk about that. That was behind closed doors.
Either way, Fish is one of... Well, he's a good friend of all of ours, and despite him being a goblin, he is missed.
I am.
Column.
Fish.
Sorry, that's the last one.
Can you tell us about a little bit of your time being a company commander for tanks?
Well, let's say I had difficulties at the beginning because I didn't know how to operate stuff, and as this time progressed, I I adapted to the situation, and I managed to configure some sorts of things like tank trainings, tank practices, and well, only did one, but still, I keep planning to do more. It's just I just switched to Kali side because I wanted to study their tanks, and
So you want to know if the tanks are really shitty, right?
and their favorite thing, pretty much. Well, except for the fucking Scorpion tank, which is a very fucking powerful one.
No, yeah, I would say that as well. I would like to see a support tank on the warden side as well. We don't have any to cover this world.
What kind of support tank? Like artillery support tank?
No, like the Scorpion, you can bring. He has a really big inventory for a tank, you know. So you can bring ammunition for other tanks there. You can bring BMATs to repair tanks as well. So if you they have like twin machine guns. If you have a Scorpion on the battlefield, he will not destroy the enemy. He will not destroy them, but he'll make your tanks more powerful.
Don't we have don't we have King Spire to do for that job?
We do, but it doesn't have a big enough inventory.
Well, it doesn't, but it's more mobile.
It is, and more fragile.
Well, that's
Doesn't King Spire have a 30 mil on it?
30
No, no.
mil. That's
There's the
the King Gallant.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. I thought the King Gallant had the machine gun.
Not sure. It's something that has a 30 mil and King something that has a.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the King Spire has the 30 mil and the King Gallant has the 12.7.
No,
Yeah.
you got to switch. King Spire has a 12.7 machine gun.
This is looking like Chop missing the thing like with the silver hand. He calls the silver hand chieftain, and the chieftain he calls silver hand.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, happens a lot. Man, and we have as well the chieftain. He has the 12.7 twin machine gun, but yet you cannot put BMATs or ammunition on inside it. You know, ammunition for other things. And I feel that is a role that needs to be filled on the Warden army. And talking of things that should be filled, if we have enough time, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the new updates.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So give me a second and I'll get the Foxhole update.
Let's take the fucking patch notes of this small update.
Yeah, supposedly fucking small.
It's not small. I get to be a crusader. I'm happy.
Right.
I will yell out some weird ass medieval shenanigans. Okay, don't blame me.
Okay, guys, it's the update 48 Death Branch. It's like update that is announced. It's not live now, but it's announced to be live, I would think, on the end of this war that we are playing right now, the War 88. And yeah, a small update that will add lots of things and change the meta drastically.
Okay, so let's start off with the new content that has been announced. Easily the most exciting things. So first things first, the Colonials are getting the KLG 9012 Lunaire F, which is a grenade launcher. It fires specialty grenades over long distances.
Not
I know.
only special grenades, but frag as well, and
Smoke grenades.
Yeah, so it's going to be able to fire smoke grenades, frag grenades, and gas grenades. those you wondering the difference between gas and smoke, gas is think World War One, and smoke is just concealment. Smoke used to be in the game, but they got rid of it last year because apparently it was game breaking. I never used them though, so I can't speak.
I think I know the reason why. Because the AI cannot shoot you in the smoke back then. Could not shoot you in the
Right
smoke.
now, they treated this to like the AI will keep shooting at you, but it will have less accuracy on your position.
More like it will shoot in your general direction.
Yeah,
Exactly. And we as wardens got the Osprey.
yep.
It's the grenade launcher, but it's not like a grenade launcher. It's just
It's a
like
rifle attachment.
Yeah, it's a rifle attachment. And for some reason, it's better than the grenade launcher. Not sure.
We had a longer stick.
Yes.
No, the reason I personally think that the new grenade launcher attachment, I think that is a better addition than having a flat out grenade launcher, because it means that even standard riflemen can have a much more flexibility in the field. And I will be making it a thing. I will be training people up on how to use it for infantry training.
What I'm saying here, guys, is that it's really good that it's like attachment for a rifle.
Yeah.
But the stats are better than the colonial one.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
true.
It shoots longer, and it can shoot like you have a fucking weapon that if you run out of grenades, you can use the weapon. Just the colonials don't have this thing. They need to get rid of the grenade launcher first, then get the weapon.
Yeah.
So I think that's the bias.
Could be, but I don't know the different balances between the teams, but it could be compensating that maybe the colonials have some benefits in other categories.
Oh yeah,
So we
production
have technically,
purposes.
like, better grenadiers, but maybe the colonials have better in some other.
The downside is the colonials. The colonials only need one weapon system for their grenade launcher. The wardens will need two. That is the effective downside there.
What do you mean?
Well, for the wardens to use their grenade launchers, and I mean their faction-specific ones, they will need a rifle as well as that can have the attachment as well as the attachment itself.
Yeah.
Which is going to limit your options, even just firing normally.
I mean, you can use the Lovecaster, that is the basic one, but yes, we still
I reckon it'll be included on everyone, like the bayonet. The bayonet can be used on every rifle except for the auto, and I reckon that'll be the case for this grenade launcher as well.
I'll
Probably.
say that as well, because you need to press F to top line.
Yeah. What else have we got here? The Velium Flak Vest. This is a colonial uniform that has been added, and it is an armor uniform. It is a heavily reinforced vest designed to protect grenadiers from shrapnel and backblasts. As such, the flak vest reduces cuts and scrapes on top of dampening bullet impacts. I think
It looks like a Kevlar vest, right?
It reduces your chance of bleeding by like 60% or something, and the encumbrance is 45%, if I'm remembering correctly, whilst wearing it. So it actually like weighs something to just wear this.
Also, it has extremely good resistance against bayonets as well.
Yeah, it gets resistances against bayonets. Yeah.
What I heard, it takes 3 stabs to kill someone.
Yeah. To be honest, it looks interesting. The artwork that we got for it was definitely. It looks like an upgraded standard collie uniform. The Velian flak vest. I kind of like that they've added this. However, the wardens got something special. The wardens. The wardens got the gunner's breastplate. Repurposed from ancient wars, these armor plates are highly effective at stopping small arms fire. That protection comes at a cost of weight, and the wearer will feel quite restricted and encumbered. Encumbrance for that is like 65 or 68%, something like that.
I tested that, and with like uniform and like a pistol and 2 clips of ammo, that's the basic, you get like 70 encumbrance, more or less.
Yeah.
So, really, really heavy.
Didn't you have also like extremely few inventory slots?
Yeah,
Three.
like three. Yeah, three
Three.
backpack slots.
Yeah, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I've heard stories about them tanking 40 mil shots as well. I've
I'm not sure, but I tested that. I dropped a shrapnel grenade on my feet, and I survived.
which is
I just
yeah, that's nuts.
It'll be probably most utilized on MG defense. And
Or-
it'll be extremely effective.
I
against,
tell you what, I tell you what would be
bullet
used for if they add it: flamethrowers.
Yes, I want the flamen
my God, we invoked the inner German.
yeah,
I would scream more German if I knew more German.
but the other uniforms that have been added. So you've got the officials' attire and the officials' regalia for the colonials and the wardens. This uniform doesn't overly do anything as far as I'm aware.
It does.
Yeah, actually it does.
Yeah, it's so the description for the colonial one is this uniform, while impractical in combat, denotes the head of a regiment. Appropriately dressed officers may freely discipline their subordinates. Ancient Messian officialists were key to the legion's organization. This modern attire honors their lasting legacy.
Yes,
And
this
the
means that officers can shoot people from your regiment
Yeah.
without penalty.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you have to be an officer in a regiment to even wear it as well, don't you? Which we all joked is everyone in the FLC, because how the FLC works, everyone's an officer in the FLC in game, so that they can invite people that they come across.
Everybody's a smartass.
Yeah. You also, yeah, the warden one says a formal uniform that denotes a regiment's leading officer. While impractical, the officer on duty may use their authority to discipline subordinates without reparation. Officers hold an important role in the warden military, dating back to ancient times when Siva was ruled by a dozen kings. That's kind of, yeah, it's kind of cool.
I just want to say here that everyone on FLC that uses the officer's regalia on warden side will not be able to press X or C to crouch or prone. Please.
Oh,
don't do
no,
it.
no, definitely not.
Never.
Why?
Officers don't crouch, that's why.
Yeah, that's a rule. Wasn't it especially true with the British military?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
There are officers of British military. From the stories that I've heard, are fucking badasses.
There's
They may have a grenade blow up 5 meters from them, and they will not flinch.
there's a story. This is kind of off topic, but it is related to this. There's a story when Anthony Hopkins did the film A Bridge Too Far, which is about when the Operation Market Garden, and he was playing a member of the British First Airborne, and there's a scene where he's running across a street in the middle of all the gunfire, trying to get to his men on the other, from some of his men on one side to his men on the other side. And one of the people there who served in Operation Market Garden was there as like an advisor, said, "You don't run and you don't crouch. An officer does not show fear in the face of the enemy. You are expected to uphold yourself properly as a gentleman." And yeah, he was actually doing it inaccurately there, because there's stories of especially like airborne officers walking across the road with like gunfire going past them all.
Yes. And I just want to say that it's fucking awesome.
Anyway, they've updated the storage box visuals. They've updated the watchtower visuals. So now watchtowers look like tree houses, and I will be calling them that.
3 comments.
Yeah, smoke grenades.
They actually look like the watchtowers from Boom Beach, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I have no idea.
Right, there's a mobile game.
Oh, right.
And the watchtower is like a defensive structure that exactly looks like that.
Smoke grenades have returned with new behavior in relation to AI. So smoke no longer blinds the AI, like we said before. Instead, smoke will now reduce maximum range and accuracy. Smoke effect is also effective against players behind, but not inside smoke.
It'll help simplify everything.
Yeah.
Which also leads up to a new tactic called smoke snatcher
Yeah.
rush.
That is going to be interesting in total honesty, seeing how that is
Also-
utilised.
And total salty.
So
Yep.
The feature that I love it the most, multiple squads. What do you guys have to say about this?
Multiple squads. Right. Part of me is kind of disappointed that we're going to have to get rid of Gilded, because I really enjoyed using Gilded for inter-regiment
We'll see
ops.
how everything works
But
first.
I think we need to test it out before we go wholeheartedly into it. It's definitely an improvement in the right direction towards improving communication features within Foxhole, and is definitely a step in the right direction in that way. But I don't think it's going to solve every problem immediately.
Of course, I would like to. I'm kind of sad as well because we're gonna not need Gilded anymore. But for some reason, Gilded is not working very well on my computer, so I could not use it as well.
I personally think that what they should have done is tie radios to communication as well. I reckon that would have been a really interesting mechanic and would have given an extra use for radios.
Yeah, but
I understand.
it's hard enough to come by radio occasionally on
I understand. I understand why they didn't, but I feel that but them turning around saying that, or using that as an excuse, when does that stop the developers in this game?
I don't know. You tell me. You've been here longer than I.
When does that stop them from adding a feature that is going to be nothing but infuriating for players to deal with?
What has been something like that previously? man?
Logi in its entirety.
Yeah, but that's kind of the backbone and bone of the entire game.
Yeah.
The selling features.
There is another thing. So moving on from multiple squads, because in total honesty, I think it will be a good addition, but I don't think it will solve every communication problem that exists in
Of course
Foxhole.
not. Of course not.
It's-
They need to add more
Yeah.
utilities for the squads.
They need to improve a lot of things in regards to not just communication but regiment management as well within the game. And it's basic features that they need to bring in that other games have had for ages. It's so basic what you've got in there that they need to add more. They just need to add more in regards to communication and regiment management and everything. The next thing they've added, seat selection menu. This doesn't sound like much, but it's huge.
It's honestly annoying to enter vehicles.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the most frustrating things, especially with new players, because a lot of new players don't realise that you have to stand in certain locations to just get into a seat. Like, no, I didn't.
A bunch of new players into a truck.
Yeah, trying to get players into a truck or trying to get new players into a tank is so bloody frustrating, because they'll just see the prompt come up to jump into a truck and they'll just press, or into a tank, and they'll just press Q, and you'll be like, no, get out of the commander seat, you're man in the gun, and then you've got to go through how to change seats and everything. So
How to change seats is easy, but they will.
Yeah,
before
it's-
you have time to explain it, they're already outside the tank.
yeah, so I think this is definitely a very much needed. It sounds really simple, and it sounds like I'm making a bigger deal about it than I should be, but this is really important, and I'm so glad that they've added it.
Next thing will be even better though.
Yeah. Factory features. So there is a factory map tooltip now shows the status of each individual production queue. And new heavy ammunition production queue added for tank, artillery, and other items. I don't know what that is about. Boss, you're the Logi guy. Explain it to me.
Yeah, right now on the live server, if we open a map and put our mouse on top of a factory, we can see the total of queues that are available. So it's 0 to 24. 0 to 24. But we don't know if these queues are like only on one type of thing, like for example, a medical. So the max amount of queues that we can have on one thing at one time is 4.
Okay.
So if I put my mouse on a factory C 4/24, it can be 1 on 4 categories or 4 on 1. If I need to use that category, I will not be able to. But when the next update goes live, we can see every category by itself, so we can know if we can use the category or not.
So is this a good addition for Logi's quality of life?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just have one thing that is the new heavy ammunition production that is really good, but I'm not sure why the 30 mil is not considered a heavy ammunition. The 30 mil is still on the normal one, and it's not the same,
Really?
same as a 40 and 68. Yes.
Ah, okay.
I'm not sure why, but it's
Yeah. Okay then. On that regard, so 20 mil should be heavy ammunition as well. To be honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah. A region event log, new log that's accessible from the F1 player screen that displays sensitive player actions.
Oh, this might be a problem. Why? Because builders actually deal friendly damage to from structures.
Yeah, I know that's been mentioned before, and they even mentioned that in the dev stream that this is still early days with it, so to be very watchful of stuff like that.
I hope that they make a change so that if you damage your own structure, it won't deal friendly damage.
Yeah.
You know.
That I mean, it should flat out be if you've built it, you shouldn't then suffer the consequences if you then destroy it with damage. As far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't. I mean, it marks down that you've it marks down that you've built it anyway, so I don't get why it's an issue. Honestly, yeah, I know he did. Like I've had to, the amount of times he's asked me to come and destroy stuff for him because he's been blocked for destroying his own shit. It's stupid. It marks down when you destroy when you build bunkers and everything. Who built it? I don't get why then you're punished for destroying your own shit. I don't get it. Yep. So refresh reserve stockpile action allows all joined reserve stockpiles to be instantly refreshed without having to submit retrieve items. That's actually quite handy. That is I like that.
It's a little button on the seaport and storage depots that you just need to click it, and everything is fine. It takes like a job of like 1 minute to like 1 second.
Yeah. Reserve connected bunkers action now allows all bunkers connected to the target one to be reserved at once without having to do them individually. Fucking finally. Fucking finally.
I'm very happy for that feature, but have you guys noted in the dev stream that the devs built a 333rd bunker piece?
Oh yeah, I know that people were like, "What the fuck is that bunker piece?" Yeah, I've seen like Blueberry's reaction to it was fucking hilarious.
And also, like the people actually try to recreate that bunker. I think it was named Bunker Saddam Hussein, and it had about like 300 plus bunker pieces, and some guy just threw a mammoth, like 2 mammoths, and the entire structure collapsed.
Yeah.
The Corys make one with a size of 1,000 recently. I just saw a post about it on Reddit.
I won't be surprised.
I just saw a video of that thing being destroyed in Crash in all games.
Yeah. Squad reservation action buttons have a unified look and user experience now across content. That's good.
Squad reservation. What's that?
So, you know when you squad reserve something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Walls are now dynamically scalable and can be built diagonally up and down slopes. Cranes can now rotate their suspended load with A and D keys.
Fucking finally, yes.
I don't get why that was necessary. As far as I'm concerned, cranes aren't that hard to control.
I can explain to you. Right now, for example, let's say you found a lot of public like utility items like weapons, tools, things like that. You cannot put this on your reserved stockpile, and you don't want to put this on the public because it takes a long time to take it out if you're gonna need it later. So what do? You build a base with containers inside it, and you can use containers to store these items. And if you have the ability to rotate the containers, it's easier to make these bases.
Oh, I misread that. I thought it said cranes can now rotate. I thought it meant cranes can now rotate with A and D. I didn't realize. Right, rotate their suspended. Yep, that is handy. Yeah, I agree. I just misread it.
I really wish that feature to be whenever I do grouping and want to like neatly put stuff.
Yeah,
in a
of
certain
course.
spot.
Yeah. Gravity is now applied to structures, vehicles, and items that are on top of a structure when it is
guys.
destroyed, resulting in less floating
Gravity has
objects
been
in the world.
founded.
They've invented gravity.
They
Yeah.
read
I
the
had
magic
it-
Newton.
I wasn't even aware that this was a problem.
Neither
Yeah,
was
like
I.
if you destroy a bridge with a tank on top of it, the tank will be floating.
It would be floating.
Yeah.
I did not notice that this. I didn't know that this was a thing.
Neither did I.
Um,
But yeah,
new explosion impact effects on terrain from large direct fire explosions. I think that's just
it's the new things for the tanks, right?
yeah. They can actually create what do you call it? Oh, what's the fucking name of them?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
Animation.
Yeah.
Animation.
Yeah, let's go with animation.
new animation for equipping heavy launchers.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a quicker animation. It's
No. It's at the same time to pull the launcher, but they made an animation that is moving faster, so you feel that you're not like wasting so much time taking the launcher.
yeah.
Right now, it looks like we are like on slow motion, pushing the launcher.
Oh,
Next update will be much faster.
okay. I've
And
just
talking
seen
about
it.
animation, I
I've-
just want to say that it's fucking goofy that the first thing that we talked about, the grenade launchers, you aim forwards and the fucking grenade goes in the arch to the enemy. I just want to say that.
Okay.
They need to change.
Now onto game balance. Storm cannon's power consumption when firing and rotating doubled.
Who expected it really? It's just they're gonna get.
Storm cannons.
After what happened in War 87, it was inevitable that storm cannons were going to get rebalanced because storm cannons.
They pissed us off so
Yeah,
fucking
storm
much.
cannons made War 87 a stalemate for so fucking long.
Yeah, they destroyed H4's magnum opus.
Yeah, they were added to the game to break stalemates, and they ended up creating stalemates because they were so easy to build.
They need some kind of like more requirements to build this honestly.
More expensive ammo.
1,000 concrete pieces, please.
I would say they need like to make a drawback to stack storm cannons.
Each storm cannon you make is going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think each extra storm cannon you build on top of the one already there should actually be more expensive than just having two separate ones.
I would say more realistic. If you put too much, if you put storm cannons together, every time you shoot a storm cannon, the other one gets damaged because of the blast.
But that wouldn't make sense too much because then the base would need to take damage as well. Why does the storm cannon take damage?
I think what it should be. I think it should be shared power.
Yeah.
I think both storm cannons should share the same power because that's not a thing. Like if you run out of power on one storm cannon attached to the base, well, you've got the second one that you can use. And both of them, when they've got full power, the power is treated separately. I think the power should be shared between both of them, and they should increase. And they should change the power consumption to what it is right now when firing and rotating. Keep it exactly the same, but have the power shared between all storm cannons on the same base. That's what they should do. I think that would do more to balance them than doubling the power consumption.
The main thing, the storm cannon should not be a spammable weapon. They should be a massive weapon that has a lot of power, but you have only 9.
One thing I think they could do is increase the price for 300mm ammo for it by 10%.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that could also help.
Okay. How implicit weapons
Can
damage?
by ballistic damage types. Yeah, I think this was a thing before where certain emplaced weapons couldn't be damaged by them.
I mean, it's ballistic damage type is the 68, right?
Yes.
That means that 68s are better against emplacement right now, right?
Right, it might. Right, they haven't gone into whether they can be damaged or not. The damage numbers may be different compared to 40mm. You've got to bear that in mind. Just because they can be damaged doesn't automatically mean that 68 is better.
Yeah, I would like to see 68 better because
That'd be
penetrate power,
that would be something we would have to test. That would be something that we would have to test to see ourselves. Tripods can now be damaged by ballistic damage types. That's good. I like that.
Because tripods are in place as well.
Yep. Tripods no longer provide the cover buff.
This is a big nerf on the ISG.
I never knew they did that.
Yeah, no, they do. Yeah, and it's a nerf for the ISG itself because that was. But they buffed the ISG in another way.
No, they didn't. They nerfed it again.
Oh, did they? Okay. Because they're finally listening to the Wardens. Because every time that the Colonials have had the ISG, in like tier 2 or tier 3 even, in the tech tree, they've won that war.
Yes.
Every single time.
And this next one here is amazing, man. I love it.
What, removing sniper rifle ammo, and sniper rifles now only using 7.62.
Yes.
Yeah, no, honest to God, that I'm happy about that because sniper rifles already have a they need RMATs to make them in the first place, which is awkward as it is. Throwing on an extra ammo type was just a ball ache because 9 times out of 10, if you could get a sniper rifle, that you wouldn't have the ammo for it, and if you had the ammo for it, you didn't have a sniper rifle. So I agree with that change. There isn't enough use of sniper rifles to warrant an entirely different ammo type for them. I get why they did it. I just don't think it was a good idea.
I think it's a good change, but on the other hand, also a bad change because it's gonna be more spammable, and the front lines get more like, let's say like.
Yeah, I know, but I argue that it balances it out because a sniper already, if you have it out, slows you down. It has a slower fire rate than all of the other weapons, and it is not effective at all at close range. Because of how long it takes for the reticule to go down. It's not an effective close range weapon. So I don't think snipers will be more spammable. I think they'll be more optimal to use. Because that's the biggest issue. I mean, how many times do you see people running around with a sniper rifle? Let's not domestos.
I think I've seen it like twice.
Yeah, and one of those times was me. Because you was with me that time and me and you was running sniper rifles. Because we were just like, fuck it, they're here. They're all at long range. We'll use snipers. And we had a really fun time doing some sniping, didn't we?
Yeah,
but
I ended up spotting for you mostly.
Yeah. but no, in my opinion, that is a good change, and
Yep.
makes sniper rifles more optimal to use or more viable. That's the word. More viable to use in the field than they were before.
It's easier.
The Cometa T29 crate size increased from 20 to 30. What the fuck is the Cometa T29?
I'm not sure.
That's
Second
not.
No,
Is
wait,
it?
not a sniper rifle.
I think that's a sniper rifle. Wait.
Wait, I think
Revolver. No, it's the revolver.
Oh, revolver.
Yeah, the revolver. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that.
Uniform changes.
I don't like. I do and I don't like this. Crate size for common uniforms reduced again from 20 to 15. They're reducing them again. I'm sorry, that pisses me off.
But that's common uniforms only.
That's common.
Yeah,
Like-
that's common uniforms. Yeah, what it means for common uniforms, that's soldier supplies, guys.
What?
That's
No,
soldier
they're not.
supplies.
Are you sure? I think they're just uniforms.
They're just
No,
uniforms.
they are uniforms. No, they are like medical. The thing that's it's the uniforms that.
You just spawn with.
No. It's any uniform that we have right now, like the one with the medics, the sapper, the tank. Everyone
But those aren't common uniforms. Those are specialized ones.
Yeah,
Soldiers' uniforms are the only ones that are considered as
yeah.
common.
It's
we cannot make the normal ones.
no. Those
Yeah,
are soldier
but you can
supplies.
still
That's what we're
create them.
getting at.
No, we cannot create them.
I don't know. That's a weird common uniforms. What is a common uniform? Because
I
I
don't
would
know.
say
What-
a common uniform is a uniform that don't change the stats of the player. They just give perks.
yeah, and then they say down here all uniform crates have had their quantity per crate reduced from 20 to 15. Individual
Yeah.
and crate assembly times have been reduced by 20%.
So yeah, so let's say
That's just an odd way of wording it. I'm sorry, that's such a right.
it's because they say that normal because the armor that we talked about it's 100 BMATs for 3. So each crate has only 3
So
uniforms.
they are differentiating between specialist and common uniforms now then. Because I can't remember that being mentioned in the dev update, but I might have missed it. Okay, all right, I'm fine with that then. But I've never heard them mention common uniforms before. That's why I'm a bit like, what?
What the fuck? Does only the armor
Yeah.
uniform count as special then?
It's a very weird way to word it, but okay, I'll go with that. 8mm, 8mm and 44 ammo is now stacked to 3 in all uniforms. That is good, and it should have been something in the first place.
That should have been added like a long
Yeah,
time
that should have been added when they added the uniforms, as far as I'm concerned, because that is pistol ammo.
Yep.
Recon camo.
That means medic can actually have ammo with him.
Yeah, finally. Recon camo. Medical items now stacked to 2, and chance to be detected by intelligence gathering structures has slightly decreased, i.e., less likely to be spotted.
Grenadier Spaldrake 30mm ammo now stacks to 2.
Now, here's a question. How does a 30mm count as a grenade?
No, that is
No, but you can
that's-
fit 2 in your pocket now.
yeah. That's a buff to the ISG. That's what people were talking about. It's a buff to the ISG.
That's above to the ISG. I agree with that. But we are not going to get this. But let me go there.
Oh,
as
wait,
well.
hold on. Didn't say the Grenadier, like, uniform said that grenade stack? I'm pretty sure 30mm is not a grenade.
Yeah, no, it's if they're nerfing the ISG, they're giving a buff to it as well. At the same
No,
time,
But look at here. 30 mil the ammunition is getting the cost increased from 20 to 40. You know, the explosive material cost. So right now it's 20 and it's going to be 40. And I think they are increasing the BMATs as well. So it's
Yeah.
harder to make they are buffing the RPG that is Warden exclusive
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Outrider's Mantle, again, medical items, that's our one. Medical items now stacked to 2, and chance to be detected by intelligence gathering structures has slightly decreased. So less likely to be spotted. They've buffed both of those because I think they've realised the chances that did exist were too low to actually make them viable. Nobody used or if they did, it was very, very rare, and we was under no illusion that it was going to be effective. But the Warden one isn't as good as the Recon as the Collie one anyway. But we also, unlike the Collies, we get a buff, a slight one to cold resistance, don't we?
Yeah.
Specialist overcoats. Inventory size reduced from 8 to 5, and heavy ammo such as mortars now stacks to 2. I tell you what, Chopper be happy with that one.
Yeah.
They've also increased the health of the 68mm anti-tank cannon and the 12.7 flat gun, and decreased the health for our artillery, the 150 and the 120.
I just want to say
I don't have an issue with that.
Just want to say they put the name wrong of the artillery cannons. Just want to say that.
Yeah, I know, but we know what they're talking about. But I don't have an issue with the health being decreased. I think that's fine.
I mean, it's fuck it. You're not gonna get hit by anything if you are on the 150 millimeters on the 120 millimeters. It's really hard to get anything thrown at you on that.
Okay, so
The next point will explain what we were arguing about earlier.
yeah. So next up is the economy balance.
Yeah,
This is
I'll
more
say-
in lines with Boss. So if you want to explain it, actually, if you want to go over all of the economy balance, I need to go to the toilet anyway. I'll be back shortly.
I'll say to skip this because it's really big.
Yeah, there is a lot here changed. You can check out the dev branch yourself, because it is far too long here. There's some more item balances here.
And vehicle balances as well, but it's
Let's leave this for the larger nerds.
I like
there's giving
just to let you know the Lion Claws had its accuracy increased.
and that's and the outlaws got buffed. Just that.
There's a lot of balance changes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we cannot go through everything today, but if you are interested on more changes, we talked about the biggest ones. But
Yeah.
if you're interested about other changes, you can research on your Google right now. Update 48 Foxhole game.
Yeah, and it is all on the Foxhole website, as well. So, but there are a lot of. I mean, they open this up by saying this is a small update, big fucking air quotes there. This is very typical of them. A small update for them is very rarely small. That's the thing. It's very rarely actually small. So if this is small, wait for the major updates because they add shit tons.
Take a look at Discord. Right.
Pardon?
Take a look at Discord.
Yep.
And, yeah, about the update, it's almost that. Anyone else can add anything here? Want to add anything to this update? Yeah, please. Guys.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I missed what you were saying, mate. I didn't hear you.
What is this conversation about?
Yeah.
The update. I just want to say to see if anyone else has a opinion that want to share about it.
I think this is a really good update. Personally, I think this is going to. It's definitely going to change the meta in regards to frontline activities, and I think we're not. as much as like you guys and Logi boss are going to experience, I think Dragon would agree with me. This infantry are also going to be seeing a lot of changes in frontline combat.
I also enjoy the Logis changes
Yeah.
because it is my pastime, what I sometimes do when everybody else is offline.
Yeah, of course.
Basically on the quiet periods. Also, another good change which we haven't mentioned is the number of unstuck commands.
Oh yes, yeah, that's another one that's changed. The unstuck commands has increased from 2, although I thought it was 3, to 8.
Yep, 2 to 8.
Yeah.
I thought that was 3, but okay. 2. I mean, the devs are named the fucking gun wrong here, so I would say.
No, people were saying in the chat during the dev stream, I thought it was 3.
I thought it was 3 before as well.
I'm just wrong there.
Play.
I'm just wrong.
People were very confused at that statement, but anyway, we're going to leave it off there for today. Thank you very much for joining the free radio of Callahan. I've been Rise Inquisitor. That's been Boss. That's been Dragon, and that's been Fish. Thank you very, very much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you or talking to you all again within the next few weeks.